Everyone. This is a special version of the TACUSPA webinar series because our friend Darely, right? Darely Rojo had some flight delays and wasn't able to join us for part two of our webinar series, getting to know our TACUSPA webinar. So we kind of did a little impromptu recording here today to let her in on the action. So this is a YouTube exclusive. This is not live. No one else is watching right now, but this is going to go on the YouTube channel forever. So my name's Josh Meredith. I This is actually my last day at South Plains College as the director of student life, and I am the director of the webinars. Um, what's the word? The webinars committee. I chair the webinars committee, and we help facilitate things like this. So I've got some questions today, same questions I asked our fellows on Wednesday, four questions, and then we'll just kind of have a little conversation and tie a little bow on it at the end. So first question I have for you. Well, first let me introduce who we're talking to today. So I want to first introduce the Thomas Mormon Fellowship Program. Tell folks out there what it is. So the fellowship program, the purpose is to provide an intensive professional development experience, mentoring and support to future leaders in the association and the field of student personnel administration. The program is funded by the TACUSPA Foundation. Each year, the Foundation Committee recommends the number of fellows that can be supported based on the cost of conference registration, lodging, and revenue generated from the prior year's donations. The program pairs selected fellows with a TACUSPA volunteer leader to complete a project developed by the board of directors. Throughout the fellows' term, they will be guided and mentored by an experienced association volunteer leader under the supervision of a board member. Fellows were selected in May and have begun working on their assigned projects with their mentors. Their project must be completed by September 15th to be eligible for the conference registration, lodging, and other related travel expenses. Fellows will present their completed project at the board during a regular meeting in the fall, and they will be recognized at the 2024 TACUSPA Annual Conference. So, without further ado, let me introduce Darely Rojo. She's a graduate assistant in the Department of Multicultural Services at Texas A&M University. She is a fellow for the TACUSPA Foundation. And a fun fact is she had the opportunity to meet NFL football player Von Miller this past April at the Gig'em Gala. So excited to learn more about that. Welcome, Darely, to this TACUSPA YouTube special. First question I have for you is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your education, your background, and how you got involved with TACUSPA?
Yes. So hello everyone. My name is Sally Rojo. I did my undergraduate at Texas A&M International University in Laredo, Texas. So I was born and raised in Laredo, Texas. I'm a first generation student and I earned my bachelor's in mathematics with a minor in psychology. I've always loved math. Math has always been one of my favorite subjects, so I decided to major in mathematics. Throughout my undergraduate, I was involved being a first gen student. I actually started my first year of college during COVID. So 2020, everything was virtual, it was online, and that was a struggle because it was hard to find community, especially it being virtual. So I told myself, I need to get involved. I need to find community. I need to find a sense of belonging. I need to find some sort of mentorship as I navigate my college journey. So I became involved. The first thing I did is I joined Greek Life. I'm part of Sigma Delta Lambda Sorority Incorporated. It's a multicultural organization. And then I also became an orientation leader. And I feel like that's what sparked my interest in higher education, specifically student affairs. And then I became a orientation leader coordinator, and it was through my supervisor slash mentor, Dr. Nicholas Hudson. He's very involved in ASPA. I learned that student affairs is a field. I didn't know that I could make a career out of it. So that's where my spark started of engaging students in leadership, planning leadership training, planning orientation training. I was also involved in so the Student Government Association. I served in that, and A&M. The A&M system has the big event. And at Texas A&M International, we also did that. So I assisted. I was chair for the big event and Make a Difference Day, which was a big volunteer event for the community, for the school. And through those experiences, I learned a lot about myself, the things that I wanted to accomplish, as well as the things I wanted to pursue in regards to my career aspirations. Then I started this past year, 2023, I started my master's at Texas A&M University. I am pursuing a master's in higher education administration with an emphasis in student affairs. So for short, the SAHI program, and I'll be entering my second year in like what, a week. So starting that up again, and I am a graduate assistant at the Department of Multicultural Services, where I advise student organizations. Specifically, my focus area is in transition, so helping students transition from high school to their college journey. And I found out about TACUSPA through several other colleagues in the Sahi program, as well as other staff there. Brooke is in it. I spoke with Brooke about it, as well as with my supervisor. My supervisor's name is Abigail Ramos. And I learned about TACUSPA through her and Dr. Bailey as well. And I decided to look more into it. And something that really caught my attention about TACUSPA was one, it being in Texas and the different professional development opportunities and provided, and just hearing different testimonies from different folks involved in TACUSPA and the different growth opportunities, the leadership opportunities, and the networking opportunities. And that's something that I wanted for myself. You know, I wanted to experience something out of my comfort zone where I have to be the one to create a project, and I thought this was a really great opportunity, and also to have a mentor. I'm a strong believer in the power of mentorship, specifically in this field. I think it would be a great asset and value to my career aspirations having somebody who's already been in the field for way longer than I have, and who's had more experience not only in TACUSPA, but throughout the student affairs and higher ed field. So I'm super excited to learn more about TACUSPA, to be present in the conference, and just get to meet different folks throughout the time that I'm here.
That's awesome. That's a lot. Plethora of experiences, so many cool things. Math major, and you said psychology minor,
Yes.
and now you're in higher education. That's really cool. Um, so second question I have for you, can you just tell us kind of about what your role is with TACUSPA and then some of the things that you're working on this summer?
Yes, so I am a foundation fellow, and my mentor is Dr. John Kolfis, and he is a assistant vice president at the UT San Antonio Health institution. And pretty much what my project entails is I spoke with John and working on how to engage folks who are involved with TACUSPA in donating, as well as planning for the TACUSPA's 100 celebration. TACUSPA's turning 100. Yay! That's a
Woohoo!
big deal. Yeah, super exciting. And I'm super excited to get to be a part of that. So working with the communication, the storytelling, and a new campaign initiative on how to engage and get more people to join and be a part of TACUSPA. TACUSPA does a lot. And then also how to increase folk engagement and donations to help the future higher education aspiring professionals, and how to promote, as well as the silent auction which will be happening in this upcoming conference. So main focuses are engagement, as well as funding and how to increase the engagement. So working around one, how to engage folks, like what things can we do, how can we get more people involved, as well as had a conversation with Dr. Kolfis about how especially in this field, there's this big burnout that happens, right? Constant change, institutions work very differently. There's a lot of things happening outside in the world that are impacting the way higher education is moving. So there's burnout happening, a lot of changes happening. We just had a recent change, for example, in FAFSA that's causing some changes in different institutions. Some students are still unable to see if they qualified for FAFSA or not. That's actually a conversation that we had in my internship at Harvard. So having conversations around that, how can we motivate people to still engage and volunteer for different opportunities to engage in conferences. So that's where my project is going for, and it's still in the works, still haven't finalized. But that's where we're at right now, and those are the conversations that I'm having with my mentor.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's really important work because burnout is real. And those of us who work in this field, at least I'm speaking for myself, like put our whole selves into this work, right? This work is community building, it's relationships. We were just talking before we hit record about your internship and, with working residence life and on-call and student incidents and it's not about punishing, it's about restoring community. And so that's emotionally heavy. It's emotionally taxing. It's spiritually heavy. Um, and so it's really important to take care of ourselves. And commitments like TACUSPA are on top of that huge commitment that we've already made to a field. And so, um, really important conversations, really important work. I'm excited to see kind of what comes of your fellowship because, yeah, it's important. It's important, and we need more brilliant minds and fantastic people to be involved with TACUSPA. Some of the stuff I've worked on, it's been really cool just to see so many different ideas and different minds at work solving problems and problems that relate to making this organization work for its members. So really cool to hear kind of what you're doing there. You touched on this a bit in your first one on the first question, but I want to give you the opportunity to maybe expound or circle back to some of the things. What do you hope to gain from your time as a TACUSPA fellow?
So one, I'm super excited to just meet people. Like I'm in my cohort right now, so I've got to meet several different people. I'm very intentional with the interactions that I make. So that's one thing that I'm super excited about, to just hear the different stories that people have to share, their experience, their journey in higher education. I think it's always very unique to hear the different stories that folks share about and how they ended up in higher education, and then also their journey and how their different positions, how they've navigated different things. So I'm super excited to meet different people, learn from their experiences, and also gain a leadership experience. I'm barely starting off, just completed my first year in grad school, but I'm looking forward to learning more about different conferences. I will also be job searching soon. I will be graduating this May 2025, super exciting. So I'm hoping to also learn about different opportunities in higher education. There's different functional areas, which is one thing that I really love about higher education, that you can take it so many routes. There is conduct, orientation, Greek life, like there's just so many things. And I'm still exploring different functional areas and what functional area, I want to go into. So I'm hoping to learn and seek different functional areas from different people who've already been in those functional areas. But specifically, I also want this opportunity to step out of my comfort zone and engage in numerous conversations with like-minded individuals. Based on the different testimonies that I've heard from different people, everybody's so excited, so motivated, very eager to make an impact and serve others. And that's something that I really like. We're in this field, to help students to make a transformative impact in their college journey. And I'm excited to learn how to be a better professional and how to better help students and bring that back to the work that I'm doing now, and share that with the people in my cohort, with the folks in my institution. So those are the main things that I'm looking forward to, and also just seeing my growth. I'm a strong believer that the people that you surround with, the people that you surround yourself with, is the people that you'll grow to become. So I'm excited to be surrounded by amazing people who have tons of experience and who have similar values and goals as myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's been in the conversations I've had interviewing different people, having panels when we talk about TACUSPA and what people gain from TACUSPA. The most obvious and prevalent answer is the relationships, is the community, is just the strength of that community, and that in itself bears fruit, right? We learn from each other. We are able to answer questions and ask questions and make each other better, and in turn, better serve our students and our campus communities. So um, I have no doubt you will gain everything that you hope to gain from TACUSPA. And I'm excited. The conference was where it all came together for me because as a fellow last summer, I hadn't met anybody in person, right? And going to the conference, you're able to shake hands and say, "Oh, yeah, you were here, or we talked about this, or we were on this fellowship meeting." And so really excited for you. Last question I have, and this one's kind of a little bit different, but as a community of learners, as someone who's always trying to read different books and listen to different podcasts and always find things to better myself, I actually stole this question from a podcast I listen to. But what are you currently reading or watching or listening to that inspires you? Doesn't have to be, my grad school textbook. It can be anything fun. It can be, anything you gained inspiration from. But what are some recommendations you have? What are some things
Yeah.
that you gained inspiration from?
Yes. So what I've been listening to, I love listening to all kinds of music. Specifically, I love listening to reggaeton. I've been very intentional about my self-care. So I love going to the gym. I love running. It's a good time to just, reflect, soak in nature. I'm back in the Texas heat. Uh, so I'm soaking in all the sun. Recently, though, I started reading again. I used to be a big reader, but then with grad school, I was just focused more on reading, grad school stuff, higher ed stuff. But um, one of my colleagues, shout out Francesca, she has a book club and she reads a lot of books by Latina authors. And the book I recently read is called Sanctuary, and it really reconnected me with my cultural roots. And it talks about the journey of an immigrant family, the different struggles that they faced and overcame. And I was able to identify myself with the woman's perspective in that book. I've reconnected a lot with my cultural roots and just reflected on my upbringings and how that shaped who I am and the person that I'm becoming. And just also as being the eldest daughter, trying to set the example for my younger siblings and my community. So that's what I've been reading, and I recently ordered also this book. Oh, you can't see it. Like I ordered it in Spanish, so my native language is Spanish, but I feel like I am
Casa en
forgetting
maravilloso.
how to speak Spanish. So I ordered it in Spanish, which is the house on Mango Street, La Casa in Mango Street. So I will be starting this book. I ordered several books actually, but since I was in my internship, I'm barely gonna read them. So I'm reading a lot of books about first generation Mexican American backgrounds, immigrant stories, the struggles, and I feel like that really motivates me, and it just reminds me of the roots of where I came from, the struggles that my family, my ancestors faced to get here, and just reflecting on the power of education. And that's something that my mom has always told me, like, education is power. And I had somebody tell me that too in my internship, like, don't forget, the power of education. And I feel that sometimes I forget about that and take that for granted, because education is a privilege and it's something beautiful. We learn so much in higher education through earning your education. So I
Yeah,
feel like that's where I'm at, really, really reflecting on my upbringings, what I want to do in the future, what goals I want to accomplish, um, and holding on to the power of education, the numerous doors it opens.
that's really cool. Yeah, we have a club here at South Plains College that formed a little over a year ago called Juntos Somos Más, and the whole purpose is just to celebrate the Hispanic language and culture, and it's not only Mexican Americans, it's the whole gamut.
Yeah.
Just a place for students to connect and to not lose their culture, right? Higher education can be a very white centric dominated space. And it's really important for students who come from different backgrounds to not lose that. And so, one of the
Yes.
privileges of my job is to empower those groups and say, yes, like here's some funds, have a call out meeting, do whatever, to make sure that they're set up for success. So, really cool to see that you're, picking up books and just continuing to dig into that.
Yeah.
So important. Um, that's all the questions I have for you. I'm trying to remember of what else we asked on Wednesday, but what if you had one question for the TACUSPA community, what would your question if we had to like do this in reverse and you could talk to the hundreds of TACUSPA members, what's one question you would ask the TACUSPA community?
Ooh, um, what are ways that you all, the TACUSPA folks, manage burnout, and how does self-care look like and organization look like balancing work life and work? I'm sure numerous things come out, depending on the roles of folks. How does time management, how does balance look like, and what advice would you all give to young professionals going into the field? What things did you wish somebody would have told you going into the field?
I wrote that down so we can include it in our YouTube description. So if you're watching online, if you're watching our YouTube channel, and you have advice for young professionals or just your fellow professionals, uh, I don't know, drop a comment in the YouTube, in the YouTube comments. We'll see if we get any traction there. So thanks for joining today. Impromptu, weather delays, canceled flight, but we're still making it work. So thanks for joining on a Friday. Um, and yeah, with that, I'll wish everyone a happy Friday, and I'll press end on the recording here. So stop.